Tonight, cool, wet weather is welcome news for fire crews in Labrador, but it's also keeping water bombers on the ground.
It's important to know for people who are from Churchill Falls that the fire has not reached their homes or businesses.
Those ground fires still smoldering 3 to 4 kilometers from the town. We'll have the latest from Labrador. Breaking news from the courts as one man receives a 7-year sentence for manslaughter, while a CBS lawyer has sexual assault charges dismissed.
They're breaking with tradition this year at some community cenotaphs, like the one here in Spaniards Bay, where Memorial Day ceremonies will take place on June 30th, not July 1st. It's another example of the significance of the events planned for the National War Memorial in St. John's on July 1st. That story coming up.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. Well, Mother Nature is finally cooperating as cool, wet weather is helping douse fires near Churchill Falls. Some people have been allowed to return as the risk lessens. Here and Now's Peter Cowan is on the story again tonight. So, Peter, what's the latest?
Yeah, Mother Nature has been a big help yesterday and today with 14 millimeters of rain. And let me show you just what conditions were like this afternoon near Churchill Falls. So the fire is now classified as level 1, which means it's just kind of smoldering on the ground. You don't see any flames in those pictures, and you can see a few little wisps of smoke like there at the airport. The visibility was too poor for the water bombers, but helicopters were busy dousing those individual spots. And conditions like this are giving fire crews some hope.
The fire is smoldering. There is no spread occurring today and no expected spread to occur tomorrow with the current forecast. And we hope that we do have shower activity in coming days as well. Of course, the weather changes, so we're always looking at the most current forecast.
So this is good news for Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro, and in fact, they're now returning some of those first essential personnel. They were the ones that were left behind when the community evacuated before, and so they're the first ones to come back. And what they're doing now is assessing the status of that plant.
If all goes well, between tonight and tomorrow, there could be as many as about 100 people back on the site tomorrow. Still, critical response people. Still, we are not sending back in a lot of people to begin to kind of restore things. That is still a period of time away.
Now, it is too early to say when the rest of the people from Churchill Falls will be able to return, but Jennifer Williams said they are starting to think about how that would work, figure out a plan for how to get people back, with the caveat, of course, that if Mother Nature and the forecast changes, so will the plans. Carolyn? Thanks
so much, Peter. That's Here and Now's Peter Cowan reporting live. Well, government has issued a fire ban, which will remain in effect until July 31st, and that's to ensure fire crews can focus their efforts on Labrador. Now, the ban means no backyard fire pits, chimeneas, charcoal barbecues, or open fires allowed, and fireworks are not permitted either, and that goes for any Canada Day celebrations, while people are allowed to continue using propane barbecues and fire pits. And the public is being asked to use extreme caution when doing so. Now, police say an elderly woman was killed in a collision in Logie Bay, Middle Cove, Outer Cove yesterday evening. Emergency crews responded to the vehicle-pedestrian collision on Lower Road in Outer Cove. The RNC says it happened around 7:45 p.m. and the woman was pronounced dead at the scene. The investigation into what happened is still ongoing. Well, we have breaking news tonight from the courts. Sheldon Hibbs has been sentenced to 7 years in prison for manslaughter. Hibbs was charged with second-degree murder after the 2021 death of 68-year-old Michael King. King's body was discovered on the trail in the west end of St. John's in May of that year. Hibbs pleaded guilty to manslaughter in March and was back in court this afternoon for sentencing. In his decision, Justice Vikas Kaladkar said what Hibbs did to King was closer to a murder than an accident. But he also said he believes Hibbs is sorry and is hopeful that Hibbs can be rehabilitated. The defense argued the negative impact of deplorable conditions at Her Majesty's Penitentiary should be considered in the sentencing. Gladkar agreed and granted Hibbs additional time served for the days he has already spent in custody. Well, staying with the courts, just hours ago, a judge dismissed all charges against a Conception Bay South lawyer accused of sexual assault and sexual interference. The CBC's Rob Antle was at Supreme Court and has the details.
Tears of relief for Robert Regular and tears of vindication for a case that he says never should have made it to trial.
It should never have happened. And it happened only because of the misbehavior of the Crown and police.
One of his defense lawyers says the verdict shows why Regular unsuccessfully fought for a publication ban on his name prior to trial.
From day one, Mr. Regular has maintained his innocence. In fact, you remember that one of the reasons we sought a publication ban was on the basis that an innocent man's name was going to be dragged through the mud and his reputation ruined. Today is a vindication of that position. But as he said, this should never have gotten to this stage, that if the Crown and the police had done their jobs properly, we wouldn't be here.
Regular was facing 5 charges, 4 of sexual assault, 1 of sexual interference, involving the same female complainant over the span of a dozen years. Today, all charges dismissed. The judge spoke for nearly 2 hours in laying out the reasons for his decision, walking through a number of inconsistencies in the testimony of the complainant, and using language describing some of the evidence as troubling. The Crown says it's too early to say what happens now. They have 30 days to decide whether to appeal.
Well, as you heard, it was a very lengthy decision, so we're going to take some time to review it and determine our next steps.
This afternoon, Robert Regular took his next steps, walking away a free man. Rob Antle, CBC News, St. John's.
An American fugitive found in Carbonear was in court yesterday as the Canadian government attempts to send him back home. Robert Andrew Land has been wanted by the U.S. Marshals since 2013, but as Ryan Cook reports, it's debatable just how much they wanted him at all.
Robert Land was led into court in handcuffs yesterday and winked at a woman who was there to support him. Despite a T-shirt full of Newfoundland sayings, his southern drawl was a dead giveaway. The Arizona man is facing extradition to America after several years living in Newfoundland. Justice Valerie Marshall set his case over until July 8th so he can get a lawyer.
We got our hands on a pile of court documents after the hearing which lay out the case against Land. In 2005, he was convicted of sexual abuse in Arizona involving a 16-year-old girl. In 2013, he was found to be on meth and violated most of his probation conditions, and the U.S. Marshals say he's been wanted ever since.
But these records show that in 2018, Land was arrested in Newfoundland by the RCMP. American officials were notified, but he wasn't sent back, and it doesn't say why. Interpol got involved in 2021, asking the RCMP to find Land and saying he's of interest to the American government. But nothing happened until last week, when a member of the public saw his picture on a Facebook group for wanted fugitives. He was arrested 2 days later. Land will have a bail hearing on July 8th, with an extradition hearing to be set later on. Ryan Cook, CBC News, St. John's.
Starting tomorrow afternoon, the province's unknown soldier will be lying in state at the Confederation Building. He'll be located in the East Block lobby where the public can visit and pay their respects throughout the weekend. The soldier will lay in state from 1:30 to 7:30 p.m. on Friday, from 11 to 7:30 on Saturday, and again for most of the day on Sunday. On Monday, Memorial Day, the unknown soldier will be transferred from the Confederation Building and paraded to the War Memorial. He will be entombed at the National War Memorial after a full military funeral. Premier Andrew Furey is the ceremonial next of kin and hopes the public will attend both events.
So I encourage everybody to come pay their respects to this young man. I think it's going to be very emotional. I think people are going to be, I was struck when I had that private moment alone with him before there was a flag draped on it. I was struck by how emotional I was.
Well, communities in this province have been holding Memorial Day ceremonies on July 1st for more than a century, but for some, that tradition is about to change, at least for this year. It's because of the historic remembrance event planned on Monday for St. John's. Here Now's Terry Roberts reports.
Royal Navy, 1939, 1945. Richard Ryan, William Noseworthy, Edward Neal.
Every July 1st, for many decades, these names have been read aloud at the War Memorial in Spaniards Bay. They're residents of this area who gave their lives during wartime. But this Monday, July 1st, this community cenotaph will be unusually quiet. No parades, no wreaths, no poems of remembrance. In a break with tradition, Legion-sponsored Memorial Day ceremonies in places like this will be held 24 hours earlier on Sunday.
We decided that on June 30th at 11 o'clock we would have a ceremony at the War Memorial to honor, of course, all the men and women who gave so much for us.
That's because something historic will happen here on July 1st, the 100th anniversary of the unveiling of the National War Memorial in St. John's, and the reinterment of the remains of a Newfoundland soldier who died in the First World War inside this granite burial chamber at the base of the memorial, creating just the second tomb of the unknown soldier in Canada. Those remains were repatriated from northern France last month. He will represent all those who died in service, especially those with no known grave. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event, and in order to ensure Legionnaires from all over can participate, an extraordinary step is being taken this year. This Legionnaire supports the one-time shift in dates.
This is something that the people who will take part in will remember for their lifetime, and to be part of that, how could you say no?
They considered canceling this year's ceremony in Spaniards Bay, but quickly revisited that idea.
We got phone calls from community members.
Sorry about that. We'll definitely try and finish that a little later, but we're going to talk about the weather at the moment. We've been talking an awful lot about the weather up across Churchill Falls, and this is what it looks like. The temperatures are going to warm up a little bit, but the weather does look favorable, certainly with temperatures in the teens. Dry tomorrow. By the time we get into Saturday and Sunday, we are looking at that rain moving back in. A wind's a little breezy, though, on Saturday, with southwesterlies gusting anywhere from 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. So we've got a ridge of high pressure in place to the north. That is leading to some colder air moving in today. And like I said, things will change a little bit, but we do have that area of low pressure bringing plenty of rain across western portions of the island. So we'll take a look at that area of low pressure. That will move off, and behind that, it's going to be another rainy day tomorrow again across the island. Weather improving across Labrador for the most part. Some showers likely moving in late day tomorrow. But yeah, that next system moving in for Saturday up across the Big Land, bringing some more rain again into Sunday. I'll break the full forecast down for you coming up a little later.
Thank you, Ashley. Well, for the first time, St. John's International Airport celebrated Airport Workers' Day yesterday, and all the roughly 1,500 employees of the airport complex were invited to enjoy live music, food, and games. It's a new initiative organized by the Canadian Airports Council, and more than 30 airports across the country took part. Airport Authority CEO Dennis Hogan says it's important to acknowledge the part every worker plays in ensuring operations run smoothly.
It's almost operating like operating a small city or a municipality. You know, we have a fire hall, we have maintenance bays and facilities, water and sewer facilities. We require road clearing, parking lots to be cleared. We have hotels, a gas station, restaurants, all in the proximity of the terminal. And it's an ecosystem, and that ecosystem has to rely on the people that support it.
Well, several industry associations have banded together on a new safety campaign. As road construction ramps up during the warmer months, it's called Cones Out, and it's all to draw attention to the dangers road workers face every day. The associations involved hope the campaign will encourage drivers to be more cautious when they see traffic cones. Workers say they regularly experience abuse on the job from disgruntled drivers.
From a physical assault where we had to subdue someone to having the police involved. As of recent, we were in an area where an active shooter happened to pass through. So we deal with it all. So like I said, we're boots on the ground. We hold paddles. We're both myself and the CEO of the company, we turn paddles. We're out there with our guys, and we've seen every bit of it. So, you know, the coffees, the cigarettes, the verbal abuse, people passing in high speeds within inches of us.
Well, it was nearly 4 years in the making, and now the province's newest sports complex is welcoming its first soccer tournament. The Atlantic Girls Under 13 and 14 Championships began today in Gander. The turf field, which is encircled by a regulation-sized track, opened 1 week ago. Announced in October of 2020, the $7 million facility experienced several extensive construction delays. There was no talk of that today, though, as the Newfoundland Under 13 girls took on PEI in their opening match. And staying with sports, a multicultural sports day is helping new Canadians in St. John's make meaningful connections. The Association for New Canadians held the event at Gonzaga Field today, and some say it's about more than just having a good time. Here and now's Arlette Lazarenko learned why.
When I just came here, it was quite hard to fit in, but now when ANC makes events like that, it's easier to find friends and people who can communicate with, who are similar to you and stuff like that. Actually, all of the newcomers, even though our cultures are kind of different, we have a lot of same because we came here, we were new, so we can share our opinions, we can share our experience living here, so it kind of helps to fit in.
Is there something in particular that you're enjoying today?
Food, I like to eat, and it's delicious actually here.
Are you having fun today?
Yeah.
What do you love the most about today?
That's actually really nice because I feel like not a lot of people know about other cultures, and some people it's there's stereotypes, there's stereotypes, but when you get to know the people more, that's really nice. And if you hear somebody else talk about it, you can actually and there's something bad or something different, you can correct them about it and stuff.
Razia, how long have you been in Newfoundland?
It is almost 1.5 years. Yeah.
What do you think so far?
I love it. I really love it, and according to myself, I will never go back. That much I love it, yeah.
What do you think about, having events like this when they celebrate different cultures? How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really, really good. If even it is our culture or whatever, I really love it, and I wish we had more of these programs and these things. It's very good for those who are new here, because for some of them it's very hard. They have depression here to get used to a new place. But according to me, it's wonderful.
Well, a beautiful day for it, a bit windy. The winds are going to stick around for most of eastern Newfoundland as we head through tomorrow. Again, some rainy weather on the way. I'll break it all down for you coming up.
Well, Ashley, a lot of people very pleased with the weather, especially up in Churchill Falls. That bit of rain certainly made quite a difference in the firefighting efforts up there.
Yeah, it certainly did. And like I said a little bit earlier, more on the way as well. We're kind of in an unsettled pattern across the province and a couple of systems moving through. Let's take a look at what's going on right now out there. We do have some showers, which are pretty heavy at times right now across a good chunk of the west coast heading towards the northern peninsula. Some of those heavier showers on the southern areas, southwestern portion of the island. And again, northern peninsula, you're seeing some of that as well. So we are going to continue to see these showers move east tonight eventually. And, you know, the southerly flow, it's actually a bit muggy out there as well. Feels more like 25 in Corner Brook right now, 26 in Deer Lake, and even here in St. John's, it's 23, but feels more like 28 with that humidex. Very different story, though, up across Labrador. Temperatures in the single digits, but obviously very welcome, helping up across the big land. Muggy meter. So the muggy conditions are going to continue as we head into tomorrow. We'll see a drop, though, later in the afternoon towards the evening hours. Saturday looking fairly comfortable. But as we head into next week, we are going to see some of that humidity move back in for Sunday, late Sunday, really into Monday mainly, and continuing for parts of the week as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one. The other thing, it's windy out there. 74 kilometer per hour wind gusts is where we topped out today. And even gusty for parts of Labrador as well. And where we're sitting right now, we've got those onshore winds for the most part. St. Anthony gusting near 59 kilometers per hour. And we are seeing southwesterlies in St. John's gusting around 61 kilometers per hour. So the winds are going to stick around. We will see that through tomorrow for most of eastern Newfoundland anyway. The southerly flow will stick around as well. For tonight, most of those showers will end. There's a bit of snow showing up on the forecast models for parts of Labrador. I don't think that will happen. I think if we do see any wet snow, it'll be up in the higher elevations and inland. But if you do see it, it won't stick around long. Some of the upper levels are a bit chilly at the moment, but your overnight lows towards the surface are going to be above zero, well above zero, so I don't think anything should fall. But we are looking at showers for eastern areas of the island. West coast, you'll see some showers, patchy showers tonight. But for the most part, it's going to stay mild right across the island, anywhere from 14 to 18 degrees tonight. Again, winds breezy, 40, 50 kilometer per hour wind gusts. Northern Peninsula, you'll stay in the single digits. And that's the story up across Labrador as well. 3 to 6 degrees tonight. Overall, generally light winds up across the big land. Into tomorrow, the showers will give way to rain, especially for eastern Newfoundland. And we'll see some heavier showers as well for the northern peninsula, west coast into the afternoon on Friday. And that will move through the afternoon. We may see some breaks in the cloud cover down along the southwestern portion of the island. But for the most part, weather definitely improving across Labrador with some sunshine. Late day is when you'll eventually see some clearing, and especially through the overnight, you will see those clear skies. And as far as what happens as we head into Saturday morning, most of us should be waking up to some clear skies. As far as that rain is concerned for tomorrow, we could pick up 20 to 40 millimeters of rain. It does look like the southeastern portion of the island, southeastern portion of the Avalon rather, could see anywhere from about 20 to 40 millimeters of rain. Temperatures tomorrow will be cooler than today, topping out in the mid to upper teens tomorrow. But again, those southerly winds will be gusty, anywhere from 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. Now, as that area of low pressure moves offshore, we are going to see that onshore flow, so northwesterly winds, anywhere from 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. And then up across Labrador, single digits still towards the coast, some lingering showers. Otherwise, we'll sit in the teens. I'll have your long-range forecast coming up.
Thanks so much, Ashley. Well, we want to bring you the rest of Terry Roberts' report that was cut short a little earlier in the show. It's about how some Memorial Day events will be held a little earlier this year so people can attend the ceremony at the National War Memorial on July 1st. Once again, here's Terry Roberts.
They considered canceling this year's ceremony in Spaniards Bay, but quickly revisited that idea.
We got phone calls from community members We're hearing that there's not going to be any ceremony on July 1st at the War Memorial. So because of that and what the Legion stands for, we decided that it would be in our great interest to basically have a ceremony on June 30th.
Tradition and remembrance is important in a place like this, so shifting the date for Memorial Day ceremonies was no easy decision for these guardians of remembrance.
There's so much pride here in Spaniards Bay, in Brian's Cove and Bishop's Cove with the Legion. You know, it's seen, the Legion is still seen as a sacred place.
But a big anniversary and the return of one of Newfoundland's fallen sons is a momentous event, one that this Legionnaire does not plan to miss. Terry Roberts, CBC News, Spaniards Bay.
Army, 1914 to 19...
I don't know what's worse, the weight of the unknown or the weight of the definitive loss. Not knowing where he is, alive or dead or looked after or buried appropriately.
It's an uncertainty many families faced, waiting for word from their son, a regiment soldier missing in action. A special sit-down with the Premier, Andrew Furey, the unknown soldier's ceremonial next of kin. That's just ahead.
Newfoundland's unknown soldier will be lying in state here at the Confederation Building starting tomorrow. It's all in the lead up to Memorial Day, where the soldier will be entombed at the National War Memorial in St. John's. Premier Andrew Furey is the soldier's next of kin. Thanks for being with us.
No problem.
So, Premier, you played the role of the unknown soldier's family when he was transferred back into the hands of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. Tell us a little bit about the background. How did this come to be?
In the absence of a family, given that the soldier is unknown, then as Premier of the province, I occupy the distinct honor and role of next of kin. It was one that was conveyed to me long after we started this process. I never thought that I would ever occupy such an important role in the province's history, and it's one that's very emotional. It's one that I am very honored to do on behalf of all Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. Very surprising and powerful moment in my life.
You've said that it's been one of the most meaningful, one of the most important things you've done as Premier. Why is that?
One of the most meaningful and important things I've done as a human being. I mean, save the birth of my kids and the marriage to my wife. This has been truly one of the most special and important things that I have done or will ever do. And to try to put yourself back into that moment in time where news wasn't instantaneous, they were waiting by the door for posted letters to see the status of their son. Truly overwhelming to be first in Beaumont Hamel with my son, who was only a few years younger than those who paid the ultimate sacrifice on the battleground of Beaumont Hamel. Really moved me as a person, and I felt the weight of the significance of the role as Premier and the weight of the significance of the role of representing those with lost loved ones still in Northern Europe.
You just briefly mentioned Frank Sullivan and Gary Brown with the Royal Canadian Legion. What was it about that pitch that they made to you that you said, okay, I want this to happen. I want an unknown soldier from Newfoundland to be repatriated?
So first of all, I'm a huge fan's not the right word, but a huge amount of respect for people who serve in the military. When they came in and said, it doesn't make any sense. We have a National War Memorial. It's going to be 100 years in 2024. We're interested in refurbishing it and protecting it for beyond 2024. But it doesn't make any sense that we don't have our own son here. And I never thought about it, to be honest, before. It never really struck me. We've all been to the War Memorial on Remembrance Day and beautiful summer days in St. John's, but never really struck me that the National War Memorial in Ottawa, the National War Memorial in London, doesn't really represent us. And so their pitch was about 20 seconds long. It was like, you kind of had me right away. I feel compelled to exercise the power of this office to support this endeavor. And I think before they even left the office, we had a letter sent off to Lawrence Macaulay, who was Minister of Veterans Affairs at the time. And it started very quickly after that. I phoned Lawrence myself and said, I need your support on this. He was very supportive, and then we went to the War Graves Commission to make the proposition to them, because as you may or may not know, they had totally shut it down before.
And I was just going to ask you about that. What kind of hurdles? How big a deal is this? Because this is the second unknown soldier now in Canada, in any Commonwealth country.
Yeah, it was a big deal because, as you know, the War Graves Commission has said no more. And they had said no more. And they had said no more before. But I think we got to establish a relationship with the War Graves Commission. They came here, I visited there, and explained to them the significance of the fact that Newfoundland and Labrador was its own dominion at the time, equivalent in its own right by every respect to Canada. The men who left, the men who died, did not die or serve under the Maple Leaf. They served for the Dominion of Newfoundland. And as a result, we deserve to return one of our sons back to Newfoundland and Labrador now. And to be honest, I believe it was the emotional pitch that persuaded them more than the historic context.
And it is very emotional, and I have a video here to show you. It's from a family, and it really pictures their anguish. Let me show it to you.
St. Lawrence. Dear Sir, could you please give me any information whatever of 3034 Private Llewellyn Hillier, D Company, 1st Newfoundland Regiment. It is nearly 8 months since we heard anything from him. His parents are very anxious to know if he can be heard from, or whether you could give us any information about him. We would like to hear as soon as possible from you. There has been parcels sent him a short time ago, and if it's impossible for him to get them, I would like to have them forwarded to Private George Reeves, B Company, 1st Newfoundland Regiment. Hoping to hear from you as soon as possible, and that you may be able to give me little information of Private Hillier. I remain yours truly, Mrs. Samuel Reeves, St. Lawrence.
So that just goes to show what the parents are going through. As a parent yourself and the soldiers next to kin, what does that make you think?
It's, again, overwhelming. My son read a similar letter in Gouda. So he read a letter home from a soldier to his parents, and he didn't know at the time that he was reading this at the ceremony that the soldier died in battle like the next day. So that was an emotional moment for us. I don't know what's worse, the weight of the unknown or the weight of the definitive loss. Standing there day in, day out for 8 months. I think they did 6 months. They hadn't had word in 6 to 8 months of the whereabouts of their son. Not knowing where he is, alive or dead or looked after or buried appropriately, or just terrible.
As Premier, what do you expect to happen now over the next number of days when the soldier begins to lie in state and the public begins to visit the Confederation building? I
think, first of all, I encourage everybody to come pay their respects. We enjoy the freedoms that we have today because someone like him stepped up when many of us probably would not. He paid the ultimate sacrifice and did so with courage, bravery, and valor so that we could sit here and have this conversation in an institution of democracy today. I think it's going to be very emotional. I think people are going to be... I was struck when I had that private moment alone with him before there was a flag draped on it. I was struck by how emotional I was. We all know the fog was here for what felt like 2 months. It broke for a couple hours as this soldier passed through the streets of St. John's. You could hear a pin drop. And so I think the people who stood in solemn gratitude for him that day, I encourage them to come and witness the casket themselves. But to everybody else, please do the same. I believe you'll be truly touched, and I believe the family of all those unknown soldiers who we left behind will be truly grateful.
Just a few days from now, Memorial Day, July 1st, what will your role be as the Premier and next of kin?
So as next of kin, we have the responsibility to care for the soldier, and so what that will mean is I will accompany, my family and I will accompany the soldier from the rooms to the Confederation building, have a private moment with him, and then watch over the lying in state as the next of kin to ensure that goes according to plan. And then we will proceed with him down to Water Street and parade up to the War Memorial in a reflective, respectful way, and then sit in reflection as he's lowered into his ultimate and indeed rightful resting place.
Okay, Premier Andrew Furey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I felt like it was right to have like a ceremony to invoke the spirit. The spirit of it is like ancient. You should pay respect to it.
Well, Billy Gautier's impressive sculpture now sits in the rooms, but the journey to get it here was no easy feat. That update is just ahead. Well, an epic journey for a massive sculpture has finally come to an end. The Earth, Our Mother, by renowned Inuit sculptor Billy Gautier, is now on display at the Rooms in St. John's. Now, Here and Now has been following the story of this sculpture since it was carved last summer, and our cameras were there as it was welcomed into its new home.
My name is Stan Nakosak. I'm from Nunavut, Labrador. I've never seen Billy Gautier's sculpture. I've seen it on photos, and I didn't realize how huge it is when I first came in the room. And I felt all of a sudden overpowered, and there was like a connection, an invisible connection. I felt like it was right to have like a ceremony, to do some drumming, pay tribute not only to this amazing sculpture, but to invoke the spirit of the Viracocha's sculpture, and to call on the ancestors as a form of respect, because this is like the spirit of it is like ancient. You should pay respect to it.
My name is Kate Wolfworth, and I'm the director of the Art Gallery, Museums, and Visitor Experience Department at the Rooms. So we're really pleased to welcome Billy Gautier's amazing sculpture. And I hesitate to even call her a sculptor because she's clearly so much more. The Earth, Our Mother, which he made in Bonavista at the Bonavista Biennale last summer. And we have spent, since that time, trying to welcome her into the gallery. So we're really pleased to be making that happen this week. This is the large bone of a fin whale, and it sat on a beach for 40 years. And so there was a whole ecosystem of insects inside her. We brought her in to our storage space in October, and then we had a big problem-solving, a lot of discussions with conservators across the country about how to make sure that the insects inside her didn't spread to the rest of our collections. So we were in contact with Billy the whole way, and over the winter she spent 6 weeks in conservation treatment. So everyone's been stretching about how to think about how to bring her safely into this space so that she can welcome and really speak to our visitors about Billy's really important message.
Earth, right from the beginning, she was speaking. But unfortunately now, we don't listen anymore. So she's not speaking anymore. She's yelling. And the way she yells through heating the planet, through melting the ice caps, through forest fires. She's yelling loud. And we're not even listening.
It was really important to us that she be with the ocean. And so she has a beautiful home here overlooking the harbor. And we're really looking forward to her welcoming hundreds and hundreds of visitors and sharing the important message that Billy has through her. I gotta say, I'm pretty emotional about it. And I know how many people have worked on this project. I know how pleased Billy is. And for us, that's the ultimate, to make sure that the artist's intentions are met.
There was no written protocol. I just went with my feelings. And I just wanted to say Nakamik, Billy Gautier, and the Rooms, and everybody involved to make this also possible for our ancestors in the spirit world. And Nakamik for having me. I'm very, very proud. And I will always remember it, Nakamik.
On July 1st, join us for a very special program, a historic day in St. John's.
There's a lot of emotions. We're all feeling it. Tears we're going through.
More than 100 years ago, he was one of thousands who signed up to serve in the First World War. Now, after a long and lonely century buried an ocean away, one of Newfoundland and Labrador's sons has come home.
One word, I guess, if you had to sum it up, would be pride.
Join me, Heather Hiscox, at the National War Memorial in St. John's as the unknown soldier is finally laid to rest. At 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 9 in Newfoundland, everywhere you watch CBC News.
Well, for many, it's not officially summer until that last school bell rings. Yesterday was the last day of school for students at Spring Park School in Charlottetown. Our CBC cameras were there to catch up with some of the school's youngest students.
It's the last day of school! Hi, my name is Levi. My name is Isla. My name is Halo. And my name is Anna, and it's the last day of kindergarten.
How do you feel about that?
Happy. Excited. I'm sad. Because I'm going to miss my friends.
And what grade are you going to?
Grade 1.
That's it? I thought you were going to grade 11.
Do I look like I'm going to grade 11?
Yeah, you do.
What?
What are you doing for the summer?
I'm going to go to the park with my best friend. Going to the beach. I'm feeling a little sad and excited because I'm still going to have lots of fun at home. And I'm going to go to my nanny's.
What are you going to miss about school?
My friends. I have so much fun.
What else are you going to miss in the classroom?
My teacher. Because she teaches us a lot. I would say she's such a great teacher. She learned all about kind and how you feel. Grade 1 is going to be fun.
Well, that was a whole lot of adorable. Do I look like I'm going to grade 11?
That was awesome.
So cute.
I don't know whether it's being sarcastic or like, do I look like I'm going to grade 11? Cute.
So cute. Okay, so looking ahead to the long range forecast. A lot of people looking ahead to Monday, long weekend for people, Memorial Day and Canada Day on Monday, a big ceremony.
Yeah.
So how are things looking?
Yeah, it's looking a bit wet at this point. I don't think it's going to be a washout by any means, but it does look like we are certainly going to see some showers through Monday. But let's start a little earlier in the weekend. Let's get into Saturday's forecast. So Saturday actually looks pretty decent. We may see some showers in the morning for the Avalon, but things should clear out into the afternoon. We are going to see some wet weather move in across Labrador. This is great news for the forest fires. So we'll see that shower activity pretty much all through the afternoon hours. We'll likely see some cloud cover move back in across the island as we head through the day. But for the most part, it will be pretty decent. Anywhere from 18 to 20 degrees. Now a little cooler for the east. We should sit around 16 degrees in St. John's. But overall, temperatures in the upper teens, low 20s. Labrador will start to see some warmer temperatures as well, especially through central and coastal areas of the Big Land. Now in the north and the west, you're still going to hover between anywhere 12 to 13 degrees through the day. Now, as we head into Sunday, that rain will continue for most through the day as our next weather maker moves in. This will bring some showers to the northern peninsula and eventually the west coast as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Now, this is the area of low pressure that is going to stick around and bring some rain later in the day for the Avalon. So again, temperatures teens, mid to upper teens, anywhere from 16 to 18 degrees through the day. A little cooler for the northern peninsula. Temperatures back down to the teens up across the Big Land as well. And single digits, the story for Nain. So Monday, I do have those showers in the forecast. But again, like I said, I don't think it'll be a washout, but a couple of millimeters certainly possible. Temperatures will hover around the 20s. That will continue into Tuesday as well. And our overnight lows into the teens through Tuesday. For central Newfoundland, you're looking at showers Sunday, a little bit more rain on Monday. Tuesday looks dry at this point, but overall anywhere from 18 to 21 degrees. Western Newfoundland, similar forecast, although I do think you'll see a bit more sunshine for your Tuesday. And then Labrador, after some rain on Sunday, drying out again Monday, Tuesday, with temperatures slowly warming back up to the mid-20s by the time we get there. And we're looking at temperatures between 22 and 23 degrees next week for Lab West. Our photo of the day is of someone enjoying a nice paddle into the evening sunset there. Thank you so much to Doreen for that great shot. And if you have any weather photos you'd like to share with us, you can do that by sending them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, that is a very serene shot. What's that in the boat there?
Dog.
Oh, it's a dog. I was wondering, that looks like a legs. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet the dog is enjoying that.
Oh, so much. Nice calm conditions. What a beautiful shot.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for spending part of your evening with us. Hope you can join us again tomorrow.
Good night.